Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Again, we're going to be looking at Falcon 2.5. This time around, I'm going to build a pretty simple patch. I really want to show off the capabilities of the VCF 20 filter. We're going to sequence a little acid line in this and then run some fairly simple analog waveforms through the VCF 20. But I also want to just illustrate the amount of control and a character that you can change in this by adjusting the gain staging in your patch. Let's dive in. We're going to check this out. Right, here we go guys. So this is just my default patch. I've created a new program, a new layer and a key group just with a basic sine wave oscillator there for starters. Let's just bring in a event script processor and we'll grab the sequencing section and go to the step line. As you can see, this has had a bit of an update to its UI as well. And this is kind of similar to what you'd find on like a 303 or something like that. You can tie notes, draw in the pitch. You also have some control for velocity and gates, etc. So let's hold down a key and see what we get. Let's draw in a few notes. And back to 10 there. And let's drop that one down to 12. There we go. Got a nice little pattern playing there now. You can adjust the gate and so on. I may actually bring that down a little bit. Let's also take a look at the length where we want to have ties. We'll hold this note, perhaps. And that note. Let's also just adjust the length of these so that they cause it to glide when those notes overrun. Adjust the gate down slightly as well. In fact, let's leave that at 100 and we can adjust the gate manually for some of these. We'll leave it at that, and now we need to get that glide to function. What you're going to have to do is come down here to poly mode, and we're going to set this to mono portamento. I'll bring that gate down slightly. So we're just triggering on those held notes there now. Let's get into the oscillators quickly. We're going to bring in a saw wave here. I'm going to double the voices. We're going to hit stereo. Bring the detuning down and we're going to grab a hard panning for the stereo spreads. We get a nice stereo saw. Then also going to bring in a second analog oscillator as well. We're going to set this one to square. We'll just leave that in the center for now. Let's get a filter on here. We are of course going to be using the VCF 20. I'm also going to bring in a TS Overdrive, which is the new overdrive module inside of 2.5. I'm actually going to put that before the VCF so we can really drive that filter. I'm also going to bring in some compression here. Bring down the ratio a little bit and threshold. You can hit auto makeup. Bring the makeup gain down a little bit as well. Compressor's giving a nice little bit of attack at the beginning there. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to drop a studio limiter with hard limiting in here as well. We're just going to bring this up though. I really want to limit that if we drive it over the max, so we're just going to leave that there for now. I'm going to play around with the gain staging quite a bit once we have everything set up. So next what I want to do is get some modulation on our filter. For this we're just going to add an analog ADSR. Let's just drag that over to, let's bring up our VCF 20. We'll drag that over to the cutoff. I'm going to bring the volume of that down. I'm going to make this dynamic as well because we can actually adjust certain notes individually using these step lines velocity controls. Let's also just dial down the sustain a bit, and we'll just increase the decay a little bit as well. Then I'm going to come back to the amp envelope and remove the dynamics from this, so the velocities are going to have no effect on the amp envelope at all. There we go. So let's play around with our controls a little bit now. This is dynamic, so I want to just play around with the velocities here. So we can just click over to velocity. You can adjust how dynamic you want that to be. So let's start playing around with our filter. We really want to get some resonance in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just finish off this patch first before we start playing around with the filter controls and the overdrive. We'll just add a little bit of a delay for this. I don't think we'll need much more than that. Let's just grab the dual delay. We'll grab stereo delay. I'll go with ping pong 8. Right, and that's pretty much it for this patch, but now I want to just start dialing in some of the overdrive. So we can start off taking a listen to just the saw waves as well. I've got these oscillators and key groups, or the key groups, both linked. So any changes I make here are going to be made on both oscillators at the same time. Let's dial in a little bit of overdrive here and really kind of boost the signal through this VCF 20. So now we can start playing around with the resonance. That's really nice. And one of the cool things with this is that you can actually adjust the resonance on both sides. So bringing down the voltage control here kind of makes the resonance more apparent, but you can really crank the resonance and then almost kind of compress the resonance down using the voltage control if you drag this up again. So we're going pretty extreme on the resonance front here, and take a listen to the effect that you get here now. Now, I believe I said that you couldn't that wasn't quite self-oscillating when I did the overview. I have to correct myself there because I did see that if you bring down the gain of your oscillators let's turn this back up again. Take a listen to the resonance now. Pretty much having self-oscillation there. As long as you drag down the input from this and just have a tiny bit of signal to activate the filter, that'll self-oscillate the filter for you. We could also additionally add in a second overdrive after the filter and see what that sounds like with the filter feeding in the overdrive. Then we'll take that overdrive off. So now you can really kind of hear the overdrive kicking in after the filter. And there you have it. So you can hear how much character you can get out of these filters just by adjusting the gain staging on either side, and then also combining that with the overdrive. It gives you a really, really great sounding acid sound out of this. So if you're new to Falcon programming, a great way to kind of get this a little bit more tweakable and more usable as an instrument is to set up a few macros as well. So we don't have to keep switching between various modules inside of the UI here. So we'll just go over here and select assign to a macro. We can assign the cutoff to the macro. We should probably assign the resonance. We can do that to a macro too. The voltage ref to a macro. And possibly the drive on the filter. Go macro 4, and macro 5 could be the amount of ADSR applied to our filter, and we should be able to assign a macro to that too. So we'll go new macro there, and we'll just bring that one down so we can add that up using the macro instead. Now, when you come over to your info page, you'll see we've got a number of different macros set up here. We'll have to click edit on. This one should be our cutoff. This one should be our resonance. This is our voltage ref, and this is the drive, and this is our envelope amount for the filter. So we can click out of edit mode now. And if you want to control this now via MIDI controller, I can switch my controller to MIDI mode. And in UVI, because of the amount of controls that can be in each of these setups, you need to actually add these to a host automation slot. If you want to automate these in Cubase, you will need to assign those. If you want to just basically control these now from a MIDI keyboard, you can just hit MIDI learn. There we go. And same for this one. MIDI learn, MIDI learn, MIDI learn, and MIDI learn. There we go. So now we can just hold down a note and play around. And there you have it. So that's a great sounding little acid line. I love the character of this filter. It really does have a great sort of analog vibe to it. And yeah, pair that up with some distortion and you can get some killer tones out of this. So that's the 2.5 update for Falcon using the VCF 20 filter, the TS Overdrive, both new modules, combined with a step sequencer, or the step line, which has also had a bit of an update. Go check this one out. That's Falcon 2.5. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I shall see you soon here at Marula Music. Cheers.